Oi, oi, strap yourself in because today's Celtic news is pure dynamite from start to finish. Kyogo's salary in France? Way lower than you think. And wait till you hear what Jota was earning. Rodgers is fuming. And he's not just after the players now. The board is in the firing line too. Nicolas Kuhn getting torched by a Celtic legend. And let's just say even Sunderland might not want him at this rate. And the biggest one, tomorrow's starting SPFL could reveal who's staying and who's getting punted this summer. You do not want to miss that. I've got some big stories lined up today, but it's the last one that might just change how you see this team heading into the run-in. So stay with me till the end, smash that like button, and if you're new here, hit subscribe to stay ahead of every twist in the Celtic soap opera. Let's get into it. Right. You're gonna love this one, because it's got a bit of drama, a pinch of regret, and a whole load of, "What were you thinking, mate?" So, Kyogo. Aye, the same Kyogo who lit up paradise for 3.5 years, banging in goals for fun and turning defenders into spinning cones. Then he jets off to Rennes in January. £10 million, bags packed, goodbye hugs, and a whole lot of fans wondering why. Well, turns out the grass on the other side wasn't just not greener, it was AstroTurf. Fake, dry, sad. Since arriving in France, just one start, 5 total appearances. 113 minutes, 0 goals, nada. Couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. And here's where it gets even more awkward. His own manager, the one who signed him, was booted out days later and openly said he never even asked for Kyogo. Stunning stuff. But let's talk about what really raised eyebrow. His wages. Now, you might have thought he was rolling in it. French move, big fee, star signing, right? Wrong. According to L'Equipe, Kyogo's earning around 115,000 euros a month. That's just over 26 grand a week. In French football money, that's basically a Tesco meal deal. To put it in perspective, Sevco Fofana's on 400 grand. Jota, in his brief spell at Rennes, pulled 180,000 a month. Kyogo can't even sniff the top earners list. So he's not playing. He's not earning big. And now Rennes are already looking to move him on again this summer. Honestly, it's gone from fairy tale to full-blown flop. And here's where I throw it over to you, and I want you to be brutally honest. Did Kyogo absolutely ruin his career momentum by leaving Celtic? Or do you still believe he made the right call trying his luck abroad? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like he gave up a king's seat in paradise for a park bench in Rennes. Right then, sit tight, because this isn't just about dropped points, this is about dropped standards. And Chris Sutton's gone in two-footed on everyone from the boardroom to the dressing room. Let's start with the big one. Sutton says what a lot of folk have been whispering for weeks now: complacency. And not just from the players, but from the board itself. And if you've watched the last 6 games, you know exactly what he's talking about. We've lost 3 of the last 6 in the league. 3. That's not title-winning form, that's slipping on banana peels while the Rangers implode next to you form. And while Rodgers has been publicly fuming with the performances, Sutton reckons the real rot started higher up. The decision to flog Kyogo in January? £10 million, sure. Not bad for a 30-year-old. But did we bring in a proper replacement? No. We just assumed. Maida could carry the weight up front. And fair play to Dazen. He's been brilliant. But we've been one injury away from playing Calmac up front in disguise. And Sutton's point is this: the board acted like the league was already wrapped up in January. Title in the bag, the Rangers in meltdown, job done, feet up. But that kind of smugness trickles down. The players feel it. The urgency drops, the focus fades, and suddenly you're losing to St. Johnstone in a match where 3 stands were full of expectant Celtic support ready to party. Rodgers, he's not having it. He wanted a striker. He said as much. And now he's stuck with a squad where a few look like they're coasting toward the finish line, while he's still barking orders like it's a Champions League night. And here's what hits hardest. Sutton's warning isn't just for the players, it's for the board, too. He says if you don't match the manager's ambition, don't be surprised when the whole thing starts feeling a bit stale. So here's one for you to chew on. Has the Celtic board got too comfortable at the top? And is it time for some pressure from the terraces to remind them that dominance isn't a right? It's earned every season? Go on, let me know what you think. Because this ain't just about one bad result. It's about whether the hunger to stay on top is still there. Right, mate. It's open season in paradise, and Chris Sutton's walking around with a flamethrower. Let's start with Nicolas Kuhn. Remember back in December when he was tearing it up? 9 goals, 6 assists, and absolutely flying in Europe, especially that famous night against Leipzig. Looked like we had a proper gem on our hands. But now, Sutton's basically saying he wouldn't even cut it at Sunderland. Aye, Sunderland. According to Sutton, the issue isn't just form, it's attitude. He reckons Kuhn got too comfy, thought he'd cracked it, and started coasting. And honestly, the evidence is stacking up. Since that wee muscle injury in January, the lad's been a ghost. 1 goal in 10 league matches and twice hooked at halftime against the Rangers and St. Johnstone, no less. The biggest matches, and he's vanished. There were whispers of interest from Newcastle earlier in the season. Now Sutton says he'd be lucky if their neighbors, who've spent the last decade going up and down like a pub lift, even bothered to make a call. And it's not just Kuhn getting roasted. Sutton's laid into Austin Trusty, who came in with a price tag of $6 million and all the hype. But he's been defending like he's allergic to closing down. Schlupp had a shocker against Saints. Hatate looks like he's playing at half speed. And even Jota, who showed flashes, is nowhere near reliable yet. Only Maeda is getting a free pass. And let's be honest, that's because the man runs like he's powered by Earnbrew and spite. But Sutton's point is clear. January was a shambles, and we're seeing the result now. Players coasting, Rodgers fuming, and a title race that's looking shakier than it ever should have. So here's the real question, and this one's gonna stir things up. Has Kuhn shown enough to earn another season at Celtic? Or do we cut our losses now before he turns into another YouTube highlight merchant who disappears when it matters? Because I'm telling you, you can't build a team on flashes. You build it on fight. And right now the lad looks more interested in jogging than jousting. Let me know what you think. Right, here we go. Tomorrow's lineup against Kilmarnock isn't just about 3 points, mate. It's a statement. Because Brendan Rodgers isn't just picking a team. He's laying out his summer plans right there on the pitch at Paradise. After that disgrace against St. Johnstone, you and I both know changes are needed. And this match? It's the perfect chance for Rodgers to show who he still trusts, and who's basically got 1 boot out the door. Now, let's talk defense. Greg Taylor might finally get a recall at left back. He's been on the sidelines since that Hibs game in February, and with Schlupp looking more like a Sunday League fullback last week, it wouldn't surprise anyone if Taylor's back in. But it's the midfield where things could really shift. Calmack stays, obviously. The heartbeat, the general, the soul. But after that, could be fireworks. Arnie Engels might get the drop, and maybe even Hatate too if Rodgers really wants to stir the pot. That could open the door for Luke McCowan or Paulo Bernardo. And honestly, I'd love to see Bernardo back. We've missed his creativity, and he's exactly the kind of lad who can pop up with a big goal when it matters. Now, the forward line. Oh boy. Kuhn? He's flatter than a pint left out overnight. Looked all right against Hearts, but that's it. He's been invisible since Christmas and might just find himself properly benched this time. And that opens the door for 2 names, James Forrest and Yang. Forrest, been there, done it, scored the winner, lifted the trophy, Mr. Reliable. And Yang, quietly been one of our most consistent since January, the total opposite of Kuhn. As for Jota, his form's dipped, but you can't expect fireworks from a lad who was benched for half a season in France. Still, you can see the magic coming back. He's probably safe for now. And up front, it has to be made a beat. The man's been everywhere. Pressing, scoring, carrying the team at times. Ida had that big moment against Villa but hasn't kicked on. Maybe he starts, maybe Rodgers plays both. But if he drops Ida tomorrow, don't be shocked if we're already on the hunt for another striker this summer. So tomorrow's Exin isn't just about beating Killy. It's Brendan showing you and me exactly who's in his plans for next season and who's just taking up space on the bench. And here's the question I want to throw to you. If Kuhn, Hatate, or even Ida are dropped tomorrow, should that be it for them in green and white? Or do they deserve one last shot before Rodgers clears the decks? Because one thing's certain, pal, this summer's gonna be busy.